All right, good evening, everybody. Happy Saturday night, last weekend of the month of April, and things are going fast. We are looking outside right now, and it's mostly cloudy. It looks like it wants to rain outside. There are a couple of sprinkles out there, but in terms of heavy rain, we're not in an environment right now that can produce that. But we do have rain in the forecast, not tonight, but later on next week, which we'll talk about in a second. If you have any questions, comment down below, join the conversation. We're talking all things weather for the next couple of minutes. Well, maybe next 10 to 15 minutes here on Ken's 5. Just want to make sure audio is working A-OK before we get started, and want to see if I can see the live stream up before we get going. But anyway, so outside right now, right, you can see right to my right, your left, my right. Cloudy skies over Calaveras Lake, the airport, all showing, cloudy conditions right now. Overall, pretty nice and just dry. It feels great outside. I wouldn't say it's hot, but it's mild. It feels good. We have a nice breeze out there around 20, 25 miles an hour, and I think I can see the live stream right now. Want to double check audio is working A-OK, and it sounds perfect. Okay, so yeah, there's a live look around town. We're past sunset. I think it was at like 8:10 this evening. Here's the pollen count, moderate on the oak, molds are light at 480. So if you're feeling the sniffles, if you feel like congested, if your eyes are a little watery, it could be the mold and it could be the oak. I would probably say the oak just because oak's been pretty bad. It's been so disrespectful lately. I mean, ever since March began, we've seen a trend upward in oak. I think it was either earlier this month or late March, we saw it over 24,000. I mean, it was just, my glasses are very dirty. But yeah, the oak was extreme. I mean, on our pollen count, the emails we get on the numbers, it'll go from, moderate to heavy to very heavy. But whenever it's over 15, 20,000, I think that's extreme. I mean, we don't typically see oak counts like that. That's a lot better. On my glasses. But yeah, anyway, that's the oak and the mold count for tonight. Again, guys, if you have any questions, comment down below, join the conversation. If you're heading out to any fiesta events tonight, you should already be there. But if you're not, if you're meeting out with some friends, some family, and you're watching me right now, just know that it'll feel fine outside. It'll feel good, maybe like a sprinkle as you drive out this evening, but mostly dry. At 10 p.m., 77, and then by midnight, 74. So if you're going to Fiesta de los Reyes or Taste of New Orleans or Oyster Bake, I think Taste of New Orleans at Sunken Garden Theaters, it's going until midnight tonight. I would imagine most Fiesta events are going on until late tonight. But if you're going out, it looks great. It's just going to be cloudy and the temperatures are going to be comfortable. It's not going to be too warm or too cold, just right in the middle, right where it needs to be. If you think it's going to rain, I think the most you'll see on radar is just a sprinkle or two. You see as I zoom in, right here. This was earlier this evening. A couple of showers near Comfort, or outside of Comfort, but they just dissipate. They fizzle out very quickly. So that's pretty much the extent of what we have going on in the atmosphere. It looks cloudy, but it doesn't produce anything. It produces some patchy drizzle, but that is the extent of what to expect tonight. Mostly cloudy, dry, and just comfortable in the 70s this evening and into tomorrow morning. Now, if you're wondering, what's rain been like so far this year? Has it been good? Has it been bad? Has it been productive? It's been okay, just to answer your question. Now, these are the numbers from the airport, and we always get a lot of back and forth from viewers, and I get a lot of back and forth from friends and family because the airport is not where anybody lives, and we get numbers and rain totals from the north side, from Helotes, from Timberwood Park, from Von Ormy, from Somerset. We get a lot of different numbers around the San Antonio area. But because the airport's right, in the middle of San Antonio, and it manages a lot of different things like aviation, it keeps track of a lot of the temperature records, a lot of the rainfall records. We just kind of resort to the airport for some of the official records for San Antonio. Of course, that's going to vary depending on where you're at. If you watch from like the Alamo Ranch area, if you watch from Lavernia, Seguin, it's obviously going to be a lot different because not everywhere sees the same amount of rain. But anyway, back to what I was trying to get at. Since January 1st, we've picked up 5.61 inches of rain. Of course, that's going to be different from where you live or from what your rain gauge has seen. Rain gauge has seen since January 1st. But so far, this is just kind of a general look at that. Now, 5.61 is below average. We should be like right around 8 inches of rain, in mid to late April. That's kind of where our numbers should be at this time of year. So we're behind schedule, or that's our departure from normal, so we're behind on the amount of rain. It's been productive so far. It hasn't been, as bad as some years in the past, and I do want to show you this next side of this graphic. Last year at this time, on April 26 in 2024, we were at 10.33 inches of rain. In 2023, at this time of the year, we are at 7. And then back in 22, at this time, April 26, San Antonio picked up 3.5 inches of rain. So it just gives you kind of a perspective, a contrast and comparison on where we've been in the past and how it, departs from normal. Now, again, this year we're like 2 inches below the average, but last year we were that above the normal. So last year we were doing great. It was awesome. We were starting off the year right with some pretty good rain. Because we're at 5. We're at 5 right now. We were at 10 this time last year. So just a huge difference from year to year, right? I mean, about double. But back in 2022, that was one of the driest years on record. I think that was the second driest year for San Antonio history, since we've been keeping records since like the 1880s, early 1900s. And as you can see why. I mean, 3.5 inches of rain back in 2022 on April 26, January 1st to April 26th. The year so far, we're starting off so slow. So I'm just trying to say, while we're doing okay, we're still behind, but it's not as bad as some years in the past, like 2022. Matter of fact, 2022 is like almost worst case scenario because it was one of the driest years on record. So we need rain, and we have some to talk about mainly next week, which we'll show you again in a little bit. Okay, so temperature-wise, we're sitting at 79 in the city, 79 in Seguin, 80 at Hondo, 80 in Stinson, 79 at Floresville. Hey there, Grace. Any storms developing out west, moving into San Antonio overnight? Not expecting anything in San Antonio this evening, Grace. Let me just show you radar. Some of the models were depicting a couple of storms out west, and that's what's happening, but you can see way, way away from us. This is like south of I-10, south of Fort Stockton, right over Fort Stockton, actually. These got some pretty heavy rain right there. But, some of this will move farther east, maybe towards Rock Springs and like Sonora, but by the time these cells move farther east, they'll rain themselves out, and I think we'll be mostly dry overnight. I think if you're asking about rain tonight, tomorrow morning, the most we'll see is like some overnight drizzle, some overnight sprinkles, but in terms of like heavy rain, no, we're not expecting that at all. Hey there, Connie. Good evening. Good evening, Shell. Happy Saturday, Shell. Future radar showing storms into the overnight tonight. Don't want to be caught by storms overnight, Grace. Yeah, unless you're driving out like west of Kerrville, near Sonora, near Rock Springs, you don't have to worry about anything. I would say the extent of precip overnight is just drizzle, maybe a few droplets on the windshield, but nothing crazy. Because radar, it is dry. There is not much action out there. What you're seeing right here is clutter, but earlier this evening, right about there, let me rewind the clock, right here, we saw a couple of spotty downpours from Chavano Park, Hollywood Park towards Timberwood Park and the Rim area. There were a couple of downpours around 7 o'clock this evening. But we fast forward to now, and this is all just clutter. That's some of the bats. This is really cool. This is a fun teaching moment. Radar can actually show you the bats coming out of the bat cave. So near the Natural Bridge Caverns, there is a bat cave right here, and because it's so close to the radar, it can pick out on the returns. The radar depicts it as rain, but when the bats come out from the cave, it makes that. And it happens almost nightly, almost daily. And while that's not rain, we want it to be rain. That is bats emerging out of the cave northeast of San Antonio and going out into the atmosphere. Okay, so let's talk about, we talked about the rainfall update. It's temperature 80 at Hondo, 86 at Del Rio. We hit the 90s, I think, at Eagle Pass today. Winds a little breezy, so as you head out tonight for any late night, evening plans, looks great. It's a little windy out in Cotulla, Cruiser Springs. I would say more breezy here in San Antonio. An occasional gust near 20 to 25 miles an hour. So I know somebody, I think it was Graves that asked about this. The storms out west, some of them may drift like, north of Rock Springs by about midnight, west of Kerrville, but by about midnight and 1 a.m. or so, they fizzle out. They diminish in strength and they rain themselves out. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be cloudy. Temperatures right around 70, maybe the upper 60s, but very mild and warm overnight, above average. And then tomorrow afternoon, we should see partly cloudy, if not mostly sunny skies. And then tomorrow night, we'll have to watch out for another couple of storms out west that may move their way eastward towards Rock Springs, Del Rio, Kerrville. There's a possibility of that happening several nights this week. We're just in spring. It gets warm in the afternoons, and sometimes the dry line out in West Texas can pop off storms pretty fast, so we have to keep an eye out on that potential. If you're heading out to taste New Orleans tomorrow, if you didn't get to go today, tomorrow from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. on your Sunday, it's looking great. It's going to be warmer than today. I do want to mention that. Today's high was, man, let me just double check. Lower 80s? Let me just double check that real quick. Today we hit 84. Month-to-date rainfall doing pretty good. 1.91. I think that's near average. But anyway, today's numbers from 69 to 84. I think tomorrow will be like at 87 to 88, maybe near 90 tomorrow. So big difference between day to day from one half of the weekend to the next. Tomorrow, I think we'll see more sunshine, less cloud cover. It'll start cloudy tomorrow, but the sun will come out. And with that, temperatures will climb to near 90. So it's going to be a hot day tomorrow. So if you're heading out to any fiesta events like Taste of New Orleans, shorts, short sleeves, maybe some sunscreen if you're spending the whole day out there. It's going to be a hot day. And what's good with this kind of heat, yeah, it's not as hot as like June and July and August, but it's still warm and still humid, and it will be breezy tomorrow. We'll see winds between 10 and 25 miles an hour. So that'll keep the air moving a little bit more as you're enduring that spring-like humidity. Okay, so if you're wondering, where's the rain? Is it coming? Now, we saw a couple of spotty showers this evening, but in terms of like, heavy thunderstorms and more numerous rain showers, that looks like that'll be arriving sometime between Tuesday and Thursday next week. It just depends on a couple of things like the placement, the intensity, the proximity to this low. This low will help guide rain, transport cloud cover, and touch off scattered rain in a couple of storms between Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Thursday. I think we're pinpointing right now. Obviously, this may change, but I think Wednesday is the best opportunity at cashing in on some rain here in our area. Let me show you why. This is one forecast model, but notice tomorrow night we'll have to watch Del Rio and Rock Springs and Laredo and Eagle Pass for a couple of strong storms that may produce hail. That's out west tomorrow night around 10 o'clock, so this time tomorrow. Fast forward into Tuesday, cloudy skies. Tuesday night into Wednesday, you can see a little bit more active, right? As a front drops in, a low moves across Texas. These are a couple of ingredients you need for lift, instability, shear, all these things coming into play for a pretty good chance for scattered rain and a couple of storms Wednesday. So big heads up for Wednesday. Majority of this rain, I know this says next week, but while we have rain chances Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I think the majority of this will fall on Wednesday, depending on what materializes next week, like Friday and Saturday. But we could see anywhere from additional of a quarter to a half an inch. That's good. There will be some areas that see a little bit more, but right now that's what we're thinking based on this upcoming weather system, and we'll keep you posted because by Monday and Tuesday we'll have a better idea of some of the high-resolution guidance and the high-resolution models, and we'll keep you posted. Okay, here's your 14-day forecast tomorrow, near 90, I think 88 to 89 degrees, 88 Monday. Thankfully, we trend a little cooler by Wednesday, thanks to cloud cover and some rain. Cool day will take it. We do need it, and we need to catch up because you saw in that last graphic we're behind on annual rainfall so far for year-to-date rainfall for San Antonio. But remember, June, July, August, while it can bring rain, summertime is just full of stretches of hot, sunny, clear weather. So we do need rain a lot so we can catch up before we get behind again in June and in summertime. May begins with rain chances, not all day rain, but a couple of storms will be possible on May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd. Cinco de Mayo as well, 86. And we may even see a nice little cool down thanks to another weather system moving in for the first week of May. Well, we'll see what happens, but right now, temperatures trending a little cooler, lower 80s Tuesday and that Wednesday into May 6th and 7th. But of course, we'll keep you up to date. Download the KENS 5 app. It's free, guys. We have, constant, consistent daily updates from our weather team. Me, Paul, Bill, Roxy, Jeremy, we have updates on our website, on our app, on Ken's 5 Plus, our streaming platform. It's free to download on Roku, the Ken's 5 Plus streaming app. We have all weather forecasts and a lot of good content on there. But anyway, if you have the Ken's 5 app on your phone, you'll get notifications on live streaming, like what we're doing now, but also on any severe warnings, on any additional updates we have on the forecast. So download it today. Tomorrow it's going to be hot, guys. 89 to 90, 88 Monday, and thankfully some more rain as we round out April and head into early May. Several days of rain chances, which we'll take because we're in drought. We need the rain, and we have a lot of rain to at least talk about in the forecast. Have a wonderful Saturday night, guys. Be safe, and Viva Fiesta.